Welcome to the Shot Clock, everybody. Back from the Thanksgiving break to bring you some more NBA content, and we're going to kick things off with the most overrated starting five in the NBA. Now, comment section will be on fire, as it always is, because when we discuss, it's very subjective to start this. And number two, it's hard this year, I think, to pick an overrated starting five. We have a 20-game sample size, so it's just enough that we've seen what a lot of these players are going to look like. Granted, second-half players, there's always been. Kyle Lowry's the best example of a first-half player in the NBA. Will he continue that in the second half with the Raptors? We don't know. But we're joined again, of course, by the good Dr. Andre Snellings coming in from Michigan. So, Andre, we were discussing just before this that you have a controversial name on that list. Let's get right to it. What is the controversial name of the most overrated starting five?
So you don't want to ease into it, just jump straight into it.
We're going right to it.
All right. Well, should I give you my whole five? Let me give you my whole five.
Yeah, let's go through the whole five and then let's highlight some of those controversial ones.
All right. So I cheated for the backcourt. I picked two point guards for my backcourt.
That's fair enough.
And they're Derrick Rose and Rajon Rondo.
Ooh.
Then at small forward, I've got Carmelo Anthony. At power forward, I have another Anthony Davis.
Oh.
And then at center, I've got Dwight Howard. I'll let you pick which one is the controversial one.
All of them? Well, not all of them. I agree with Rondo, because to me it's very similar to I'm curious your thoughts as well, of course, but like the Michael Carter-Williams on a bad team, the stat padding and what was he really like type of player. He's also a problem child, we know that, and he could be impossible to work with. But I'm going to pick Anthony Davis as the controversial one, and I'm curious. Now, I know you've been following this all year long, especially on the line with that injury-prone label. Is that the reasoning for him being overrated?
It is not. And I should say right out front that Anthony Davis is quite possibly my favorite under 25 player in the NBA. I really like how he plays. If not him, I'm kind of digging Karl Anthony Towns right now, too. So this isn't I don't like Anthony Davis pick. The thing is, I think most people feel like he's one of the top 5 players in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And impact-wise, I don't think that translates. He's always one of the leading shot blockers in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think for that reason, and because he had a defensive reputation when he got to the league, the thought is that he's this excellent defender, defensive player of the year caliber defender, that also can score 25 points. That must mean he's great. But his defense has never translated into actually helping the defense stop the other team from scoring to the level that his reputation would suggest.
So it's mostly it looks good on paper, but it's not translating into wins for the team. And of course, I guess a playoff run this year. Is that like where we're siding with?
To some extent, but it's not really so much the wins. It's we've talked about it before. I'm into the nerd stats. And so I don't necessarily look at if a team wins, but I do look at how does the scoring margin change when a player is on the court versus when he's not. And when Anthony Davis is out there, and this has been true for the whole time he's been in the NBA, the defense doesn't get better proportional to what he's expected to be. He doesn't play good position defense. He doesn't play pick and roll defense the way you would think someone of his ability should. He'll take head fakes going for the shot block. And just on the whole, I love him as a player. I think he'll get better, but he's not there yet.
I feel like the Carmelo Anthony pick, that almost speaks for itself. And as a Knicks fan, I agree with it wholeheartedly, just because a guy who can lead the league in scoring, who's got maybe one of the best mid-range jump shots we've ever seen, it never translates. The isolation basketball is so much a thing of the past. And you look at the teams that are succeeding today with the three-point shot, and the Knicks are working on those things. It's not like Carmelo Anthony's not a surprising pick. But you had Dwight Howard at center. Let's highlight that real quick before we get over to the Jason Ruben overrated five.
Dwight Howard, I don't know how much he's overrated now because since he's been injured, maybe expectations have come down for him. But the thought was always that when he was healthy, he was kind of like Anthony Davis, arguably the best player in the league.
Of course.
And I don't think he was ever quite that. And this is also kind of true of the Derrick Rose pick. I think there's a sense from people that as soon as Dwight Howard gets healthy, or if Derrick Rose could ever be healthy, then they could be that MVP.
Right.
And I don't think they ever necessarily were that, and I definitely don't think they'll be that again.
As for my 5, Andre, I cheated a little bit as well. I took 2 point guards because, the NBA backcourt kind of thing. All point guards are shooting guards now. All shooting guards are point guards. All small forwards play every position in the NBA. And I actually have 2 guys. I have Rondo. I agree with you there. We discussed that already. But Jeff Teague. And again, the same reasoning. It's not that I don't like Jeff Teague, but when Dennis Schroeder is filling in and pretty much playing at the same efficient level as Jeff Teague is, then I find it interesting that I think it falls back on you can really insert any average to a slightly above average point guard into the Hawks system, and he'll perform at the league average 15 PER. Now, Jeff Teague's got a 19 PER. Schroeder has a 15. There is a difference there, but given, if you scale it to per 36 minutes and per 100 possessions, they're pretty similar. They can almost do a lot of the same things. And there's a different Atlanta Hawk that's on my underrated starting 5, which we'll get to eventually. Rondo, we've been through. I harp on DeMarre Carroll all the time, and there's one reason why. He's got a 0.3 estimated wins above replacement. There was a lot of hype about him going into the year. That's kind of tailed off 20 games in. Granted, and I'll wait until we get to that point, the playoffs come around, and DeMarre Carroll, oh my God, he becomes exactly what he did last year in the playoffs, and he is a lockdown defender, and he can really take the Raptors over the hump into the Eastern Conference Finals. I'll take back what I said. Until then, he's a waste of money. I had a really hard time at power forward. I don't know why. I chose Kenneth Faried. I do know slightly why. I love guys who dunk all over the league, and I think Kenneth Faried's got the 4th best PER in the NBA for power forwards. I don't have very good reasons, and that's not a reason to put him on my overrated starting 5, but I can't do it with Anthony Davis. I like your points as to why, but I don't think he's that overrated. I think Kenneth Faried gets a little more attention than he should, and that's what I'm going to stick with. I'm going to get ripped for that one. But I'm going to move forward to my strongest case, and that's DeAndre Jordan, because if it wasn't for Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan would be one of the worst centers in the NBA. Yes, he can protect the rim. I get it. He can block shots. He's ferocious. He's got no touch. Chris Paul is literally the reason, 110% of the reason DeAndre Jordan almost got a huge deal with Dallas, and they brought him back. Now, put any other point guard there, I'm curious. You put Steph Curry with DeAndre Jordan, what happens? I don't know. But the best pure point guard in the NBA is Chris Paul, and that's how good that he is, that he can make DeAndre Jordan that much better of a player. He can't shoot free throws. And, man, he dunks. His only points are dunks. That's fun to watch, but it ain't going to win you championships. So I'm curious your thoughts on DeAndre Jordan as well.
Yeah, so you had a very interesting 5. I think we kind of took it different directions.
Yes.
I went more for the overrated as far as trying to find players that people think are MVPs that maybe aren't quite there, whereas I think you kind of went more with players that just maybe aren't as good as maybe people think they are.
Right.
I'm actually going to disagree with you on DeAndre Jordan, though.
Oh.
I'm going to agree with you and disagree with you. I think that Chris Paul gets him a lot of dunks, and that came close to getting him a big deal with Dallas. I agree with you on that. But I don't think that's why he's good. I think his ability to affect the game on defense is 100% why he's good. And I think when it comes to big men, defense is the most important one skill you can have. There's more than one way to skin a cat. So, you can have a guy like Dirk Nowitzki, who's not the greatest defender, and have him be one of the greatest scorers in history.
Right.
But in general, if I've got a big man on my team, I want him to be able to play defense.
So a little bit of debate here. I'm curious what the comments section believes and who their overrated starting 5 is. We went very different directions. I am more confident in my underrated starting 5 than I was in my overrated starting 5 because I know how much people will take it out of context in terms of, you must hate DeAndre Jordan. No, I just think he's a bit overrated. So if you want to follow Andre Snellings, make sure to follow him at Professor DRZ on Twitter. Make sure to check out the RotoWire Hoops Lab column, as well as some daily fantasy advice that goes up weekly. As for myself, Jason Ruben 91 on Twitter and Instagram. And of course, at TYT Sports, make sure to like, favorite, subscribe this video, and we'll see you next week.